So this bell ringer is a question that you guys had on your midterm. And it was a really commonly missed question, so I wanted to make sure and go over it. It talks about the equation of line and slope, which is something that we struggle with a lot, I think. So does everybody have this in front of them? You guys see where we're at? Get some confirmation? Thank you, Danielle. This is the paper you picked up at the door. Cool. Okay. So it says which equation or equations represent a line that contains the point negative 8, 3 and is perpendicular to y equals 4x minus 7. So the fact that it has that little s in parentheses means there may be more than one answer here. And so we'll have to go through all four. We can't stop when we just get one answer. I'm going to underline the word perpendicular. So if two lines are parallel, they have the same slope. If two lines are perpendicular, do y'all remember what the slopes, how they're related?
They are like
reciprocals, and the sign is changed. So right here I'm going to write slopes are, we would say negative reciprocals. The negative means the sign changes, and the reciprocal word means it flips over. So if you had 2/3, it would be 3/2. Reciprocal. So we have to figure out what's the slope of my equation there. Y equals 4x minus 7. It's in that y equals mx plus b form. What's the slope of that line? Do y'all remember?
Which one?
Y equals 4x minus 7.
With the reciprocal, you said what, please?
4.
Good, Jose. Reciprocal, you flip the number. So if it's 4 over 1, it'd be 1 over 4. So how did he know the slope was 4?
Because y equals the mx.
Yeah, it's always the m in that formula. So the slope is 4. And I'm going to put 4 over 1 like Jose said. That was smart to do that. Because when we flip it, we're going to have 1 over 4. So I'm going to say new slope. It's not just 1 over 4. What am I missing? The negative sign. Good job. Negative 1 over 4. So do you see any of these 4 equations that don't have a slope of negative 1/4 right away?
Mm-hmm.
B. Good job, Mayana. So it cannot be B. B has the wrong slope. The slope on B is 4. So it's definitely not B. We've already upped our chances for this problem. What's wrong with A? Why can't we tell? Do y'all know what the slope is right away? No. Let's change A so that it looks like y equals mx plus b. So subtract x from both sides, and you get 4y is equal to negative x plus 4. And then divide everything by 4. So that gives you y equals negative 1 over 4x plus 1. Do I need to zoom in a little bit? Do y'all notice that exact equation somewhere else on the paper? See how A and C are exactly the same equation? They just looked different to start out. So if we choose A, we also got to choose C because they're the same. Okay, so multiple choice strategy with this. If you plug in x and y to your equation, it should be a true statement. If you get something that's not true, like you get 3 equals 30, then it doesn't work. But if you get something that's true and it has that right slope, then that would be one of our options. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom just because I have more room. and plug in my x and my y. So 3 is equal to negative 1 over 4 times x, which is negative 8, plus 35. Negative 1/4 times negative 8 is 2. Is 3 equal to 2 plus 35?
Wait, I'll be having trouble with multiplying.
Negative 1/4 and negative 8?
Yeah.
Do a little note here. Negative 1/4 times negative 8. Multiply straight across. So you get 8 over 4, which equals 2.
Oh, okay. So you just pay no mind to
The negatives or the bottom?
the top part. So don't just ignore the top part of the equation.
Well, you multiply straight across. So you multiply the numerators. 1 times 8 is 8, and then 4 times 1 is 4. So is 3 equal to 2 plus 35? No. So D cannot be my answer. So I just have A and C. A and C are the exact same equation. So pretty sure it's going to be A and C. But just to be sure, let's plug in X and Y again. Clarette?
Oh.
Just stretching? Okay. So Y is 3. So I'm going to say 3 equals negative 1 over 4 times negative 8 plus 1. Here's that same multiplication. I already know what it is. 3 equals 2 plus 1. See how I got 3 equals 3 in the end, so that's going to work. And A is the same equation, so that's going to work.
Wait, how would you multiply the fraction in the 8?
Right here. So negative 1 over 4 times negative 8 over 1. You just multiply straight across. Also, if you have a calculator, you can use that too. So if you have this all written down, I want you to go ahead and look at part 1 and plot those points that it asks you to. You're going to be doing a lot of plotting for points and looking at the shape. So remember, it's like an airplane. You got to go forward before you can go up. So the first number is the left to right, the x value, and then the y is the up and down. Yours hopefully looks something like that. Does yours look like mine? What kind of shape do y'all think this is out of the 4 options?
Slanted.
It's a slanted what?
Isn't that a slanted rectangle?
Okay, so which ones can we agree it's not? Definitely not a square, definitely not a rectangle, because these are not 90-degree angles. So it's either a rhombus or a parallelogram. What is special about a rhombus? Mayana, you're right. What's special about a rhombus? About the sides of a rhombus. Equal sides. So I'm going to jot that down. So you have that in your notes you can refer back to. All sides are equal in a rhombus. Are all those sides equal? Instinctually, what do y'all see? Yes or no? I see no too, but I'm going to show you guys why. Okay? So D to C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A to B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can use the distance formula to find out how long AD is, but we can also just look at how much up and over it goes and make an educated decision about it. So if I go from A to D, I go up 1, 2, 3, and then I go over 1. That is not going to be the same as just going straight over 5. If I took this 5 and I laid it and I turned it this way, it would be longer than that AD. So do we agree on which one it is now? It's a parallelogram.
Wait,
I know.
parallelogram?
What?
Parallelogram. How did that?
It's like a rectangle that's slanted. So because AD and BC are shorter, so like a drastic parallelogram would be like this. Really short sides and then long sides. So if you need to, sometimes it's not obvious which one it is. Like that one wasn't super obvious. We were a little divided. You can use the distance formula to figure out if the sides are equal. So I'm going to jot the distance formula down here so you have it. We did this back in section 1. And we've used it a lot since then. And you're going to continue to use it a lot. And then we can also use slope to figure out if sides are parallel or perpendicular. So that's why I chose to do that bell ringer, so that we would talk about slope a little bit. The slope formula, if we have the points, if y'all remember this, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's how much it goes up or down versus how much it goes left to right. So the y's over the x's, rise over run. Okay, part 2. If you got that copied down, go ahead and plot those vertices, A, B, C, and D. And then you'll connect them and hopefully have a nice shape. That's what mine looks like. What kind of shape is that? Trapezoid. More specifics. Anybody can anybody think of a more specific name for the trapezoid? Based on the 8 quadrilaterals we've been talking about. We had a trapezoid, and then we had an isosceles trapezoid. When these are equal, it's an isosceles trapezoid.
Oh, the perfect one.
Yes, it's the perfect one. It could fold in half and like be perfectly in half. It has a line of symmetry. It's another way you could say that. I'm going to make sure that A to C and B to D are the same. I'm not going to use the distance formula here. I could. I'm just going to count up and over and make sure it's the same amount. So from C to A, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over 1, 2, 3. From B to D, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. So that was the same up and over. It was the same amount moving from A to C and B to D. So I can be sure that those are equal. So I'm going to add the little markings that tell me they're equal.
So with the regular trapezoid, angles aren't equal.
With the regular isosceles, wait, say that again.
With the, not the isosceles, but the other the trapezoid,
Mhm.
sides aren't equal?
If you have a trapezoid and it's not isosceles, it could look like that. See how one side is, one of the legs is longer?
Yeah.
So what's the perimeter around the park? What do we need? What is the perimeter? What's that mean? Around the outside. Good. So from A to B, I can just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. C to D, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But then AC to BD, I don't know the distance or the length of that segment, so I need to use the distance formula. So I'm going to do x2 minus x1 with A to C. So -6 minus -3 squared plus y2 minus y1, 2 minus 7 squared. -6 plus 3 is -3. And then that's going to be -5. Square root of 34.
Wait, why did you add it? And then -6 and then you're going to add the something?
You have minus and negative. If I round to the 10th place, I get 5.8. So AC is 5.8, and since we already determined they were equal, BD is 5.8 as well. So the perimeter is equal to 7 plus 5.8. Wait, did I count this wrong? 12?
Yeah, I was.
Is it 13?
Yeah.
Y'all tell me when I do wrong stuff. Plus 13 plus 5.8. So that gives me 31.6. So something I just realized, that's why this was taking me so long. This is the calculator on your EOC. I downloaded it to my phone. And do y'all see that little bubble over there to the right? So this is a decimal. Apparently, if you click on that, it changes it to an improper fraction. And then it'll change it back to a decimal, which is kind of a nice feature in case you need that one day. Do y'all see that? How it changes it to 158/5, then back to 31.6? Okay. Part B, last part. If she wants a sidewalk from one corner to the other, how long will it be? I meant to say from one corner to the other, like the diagonal, not just A to B or C to D. So that was my being unclear, but I want you to add in that I want the length of a diagonal. And so which 2 points are we going to use? From what to what? We've got 2 diagonals, so 2 options. Either one's right. A to D. Let's do that. So we do AD. I'm going to use the distance formula. Let's see. X is 7 minus -3 squared plus my y is 2 and 7. So 2 minus 7 squared. That gives me 10 plus -5 squared. Add 125, you get 125. Take the square root of that, and you round to the, let's round to the 10th place, and you get 11.2. What time is early dismissal, first period? 20 or 30? 20? I wasn't sure, because that's going to be a big difference. So now I would like for you guys, the last paper that you worked on with the sub was very similar to all this stuff. You plotted different shapes and decided what they were. So take a few minutes, look back over your stuff. I'll walk around and tell you if you need to look at something more closely. A lot of you guys didn't finish the back page of it, so I'm going to give you time to finish that as well. So it looked like this. It had MAFS 912 GPE 2.4 at the top. Y'all know what you're doing? Yes? Okay.